ItvJohn Thaw is Morse for Morse lovers, and I confess I have adored the irascible character since I first read one of the novels on which the TV dramas were based. Those 120 minutes were both exhilarating and relaxing, like trying to crack a endishly complex crossword to the backdrop of the dreaming spires of Oxford. So it is no surprise that Morse has been voted the best crime drama of all time. To my mind, nothing has ever come close to Colin Dexter's ingenious plots so brilliantly adapted for TV, John Thaw's outstanding portrayal of such a deep-leading character, and the consistently brilliant cameos of the supporting cast, such as Kevin Woodley as Luz. It's hard to believe it's 31 years since the FIRST episode was aired, The Dead of Jericho in 1987, and nearly 20 years since the FINAL one was made. The Remorseful Day in 2000. In all, Morse investigated 33 crimes, mostly death-related, and it is estimated his character has been seen by more than 1 billion viewers worldwide. What exactly was the appeal of a grumpy, hard-drinking and cynical detective inspector with a chip on his shoulder about the supercilious academics and grandiose, self-styled upper classes with whom he is forced to rub shoulders in the line of duty? Morse was educated at Oxford but left after a broken love affair, and therein lies the dual sadness at the heart of the character. The knowledge that he is the intellectual equal of any don but is looked down on by them, and the lonely life he is forced to lead because every romance he's ever had somehow ends in tragedy. Morse is a man full of regrets, both personal and professional. ITV, Rex, Shutterstock. John Thaw with Kevin Woodley as Lewis is never at ease, whether at home among the Oxford elite or with his colleagues at work. Many viewers can identify with his unsettled, unsatisfied lifestyle. Morse is haunted by a deep sadness which we only begin to understand in the episode Dead on Time, in which he meets up again with Susan Fallon, his former fiancée and lifelong love, while he and Lewis investigate the death of her husband. For the first time we see the depth of the relationship between Morse and Lewis, who becomes concerned that his boss might be letting his emotions get in the way of his handling of the case. It is that slow-burning release of character development which made Morse so unmissable. The most memorable episode for me, and I suspect for most Morse fans, was the final one, in which Morse, just back from sick leave, suddenly becomes aware of his own mortality and eventually collapses in the grounds of his old college. There have been few more moving scenes than the one in which Morse and Lewis watch the sunset as Morse recites a poem that ends with the lines, "How hopeless underground falls the remorseful day," and then Morse is gone forever, his faithful sergeant gently kissing him on the forehead. He would never have dared do that when the old curmudgeon was alive, saying, "Goodbye, sir." Morse would have loved certain aspects of retirement, such as the extra time it would have given him to listen to recordings of his beloved Wagner. He would have had so many days to spend driving his Burgundy Mark II Jaguar too. But he would have hated the loneliness and would desperately have missed the companionship of Lewis, however much he loved to patronize him. Interestingly, the Morse who featured in the novels was a different character to the one John Thaw portrayed on TV. On the page, Morse is a heavy drinker with an appetite for sex and a cynical, bitter sense of humor. On screen he was turned into a more gentle, even romantic, figure whose heart had been broken many times and needed love, not sex. That was the genius of John Thaw. One thing that remained the same was the slow pace of the intricate cases Morse investigated. John Lawrence, Rex, Shutterstock. Writer Colin Dexter created Morse. Unlike many crime dramas, all the clues were there before us, even if many of them were as hard to fathom out as the most cryptic crossword clue. But slowly over each long episode everything would drop into place. For a long time Morse would use only his surname and was evasive when asked about his first name, sometimes joking that it was Inspector. It was several series before we learned that his initial was E, and not until the end of Death Is Now My Neighbor in 1997 that we were given the answer to Morse's crossword-like clue. My whole life's effort has revolved around Eve. His name was Endeavor. Morse was so easy to take to your heart because there was an underlying sorrow in his life. When a character asked him if he cooked or whether there was someone at home, Morse replied, "I did live with a microwave for a while but, we argued."